Hello, my name's Les Litwin. I'm the Technical Director of Antrica. In the bottom right hand corner of this video you can see two small encoders. If I put my hand near them you'll get an idea of the size. So that's my finger. Obviously the HDMI connector you can see on this one is on a ribbon cable, and the HDMI connector on the one on the right hand side is fixed to the board. The differences between these two are that the one on the left, the HDMI is on ribbon as I said, and the power supply is 12 volts. The one on the right has most of the connectors fitted on the board, and this one is USB powered. As you can see in the top right hand corner, that's a USB-C power supply. Other than that, the chip and the firmware are basically identical. So the first thing we can do, only one of these is powered up, which is the one on the right hand side. We can use a tool that we have called Auto Search IP System. If you click on search here, the tool will go away and find the device that you're looking at, and obviously the most important thing is it will tell you what the IP address, which in this case is 192.168.1.168. So everything I'm going to describe for this board on the right will be the same for the one on the left, just the physical functions are slightly different. As you can see, the one on the left is obviously slightly smaller as it has fewer connectors on the PCB. So if we close that down, and I've already got a browser open which is on the 192.168.1.168, and here you can see the RTSP URL for the HDMI interface, and if I click on VLC player and hit play, it's a bit big. This is just a test pattern that's being sent into that encoder and being encoded. If we look at the tools and codec information, we can see it's 1920 1080 60 frames a second, and it's H.264 in this case. So let me minimize that. So just to run through the user interface, just to give you a quick overview of this interface here. Video parameters at the top, this is under status. We have the resolution, and then you will also have audio parameters as it supports audio. And you have two stream capabilities. One is the main and the other one is the sub. So the substream is a secondary HDMI streaming interface which allows you to set completely different parameters, different frame rate, different resolution, etc. So if we look at the network page, this is fairly standard. As you can see, you can set IP addresses, net masks, gateways, and so on and so forth. You can actually alter the RTSP port that's used and also the HTTP port. So if we look at HDMI main, HDMI sub is very similar to this, except it's for the substream. So actually we'll stick with HDMI main. First of all, you have two codec types you can use, 264 or 265. This is the name that you give to the encoder or the channel, so when you're streaming you can identify. Bitrate control, obviously you've got CBR, VBR and a extended variable bitrate. The key interval, this is the number of iframes for number of P frames for every iframe, so the GOP if you like. Resolution is maximum 1920 by 1200, which is a PC resolution, but you can obviously have other formats. This effectively means you can scale the video. So at the moment we're natively encoding 1920 by 1080, but if I change that to 720/480 and click apply, and then open up VLC player, if we look at the tools, codec information, you'll now see that the video has scaled down. Okay, so we'll leave that where it is. So we're encoding at a lower rate. You can change the bit rate. This is in kilobits per second, so 3000 kilobits is 3 megabits. You have different profiles you can set, main, base and high, and then obviously the encoded frame rate. So the incoming frame rate is 60, you can encode at 60, but you can also reduce that if you require to reduce the bit rate, as most people would normally use 30 to get a reasonably good compromise between frame rate and bit rate. Then all these other parameters are different streaming formats. So effectively we have transport stream, which is off. We have RTSP, which in this particular case is on, as you can see here. We also can stream in HTTP format, and that's off. And then we go into RTSP authentication, that's off, and the RTSP mode is set here. Now all of this here, unicast IP and multicast, is basically related to transport stream, so MPEG-TS if you like. We have RTMP as well, and you've also got the capability for SRT, which in some cases may be useful. So this is the HDMI main. The HDMI sub is exactly the same, it's just the substream, so you can connect two different streams, two different sets of formats. And then in the extended mode is really where you've got things like audio settings, you've got your RTMP, HLS settings, and you've got on-screen display and so on and so forth, and system time information. In the system page we've got information about what firmware version we have running, and if you wish to upgrade the firmware, this is where you do that in the system page. You can change the password for the login. At the moment it's admin, and the system settings are here. So realistically it's a relatively simple encoder to set up. As I say, the HDMI main is probably the good place to start, and you know, from here you can experiment with different streaming formats if you wish. I mean, at the moment we've set RTSP as the main format. So one last thing to mention is that the encoder is OnViv discoverable. So when you discover this device, it will show up as an OnViv device, and it will show two profiles. So I hope that explains the differences between these two encoders. These are our lowest cost miniature board level encoders.